Mirth Mouser,
Hello, glad to be here.
and we are going to be playing Uno and talking about fucking Helluva Boss because they dropped another episode today, and it was very
Yep,
good.
just came out. Yeah, I liked it a lot. I mean, I have my nitpicks here and there, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
It was really good, to be honest. I'm very pleased with it. It's probably, and like I know this is a lot of personal bias here.
Oh
This
no,
might
I
th-
see.
this might be my favorite episode.
Really, really.
It's fucking close. Like on one hand, season 1, episode 6 is just the best episode of the show, let's be real.
It is.
On the other
Absolutely.
hand, this episode has a lot of like plot points and character dynamics that like strongly appeal to me, which we'll get into soon. How about we start the match?
Let me go ahead and start it, and as we get into it, then we can have a discussion.
With how much difficulty it's given us, it's probably gonna just fucking boot us somehow.
Hopefully I can play the whole game with just a mouse. Because if it hits me with
Yeah,
pressing X and saying no, then I'm screwed.
it has keyboard prompts, but you don't actually need the keyboard. Oh my god, what is my hand?
Um,
Um, 3+4s, eh? Oh, I'm just gonna swap to you.
you know, but I don't have any red. Ugh.
I do
Alright.
now, though. It's okay, you have 3+4s. Just use one.
You have no blue.
Yeah,
I should not have done that.
don't do that.
Okay.
God, let's play one of that. So yeah,
It's like, I mean, I mostly know how to play Uno. I just, remember it on the fly here.
yeah. Um, so yeah, this episode has a really heavy focus on Octavia in particular, which I really, really like
Which I've been
because,
waiting for. I've
yes,
been waiting for an episode like that.
God, I'm so happy to get more Octavia content.
It's been long overdue.
Oh, definitely.
And in many ways, partially because again this is also the next episode too, and also just how the episode is kind of structured and paced, it reminds me a lot of season one of Lululand. I
Mm.
mean, yes, it's another Octavia episode, so that makes sense.
And there's a few callbacks to it as well, like how you may have noticed that Stolas was the only one laughing in the audience scene when Blitzer was filming, calling back to Lululand
Yeah, that's a good point.
and to the flashback episode previously as well. Um, yeah, I love watching the two dads struggle to find their daughters and make them happy. It's a very relatable struggle to me in a way that a lot of fiction tends to relate to. Um,
Cute to watch. Although if I had to, it's like offering it, and this is entirely not the episode's fault. Um, I just pushed buttons, I'm not thinking, but you know what?
lol,
I grabbed the stack that was small, so that works out.
lol.
Anyway, but yeah, if I had to offer a nitpick, that's entirely not the episode's fault. It's like from the last two episodes, I'm still very much on the kind of the emotional train of the tension of everything that happened.
Mm,
And while there is that there here to an extent, it feels like I'm missing a wind down, at least on Blitz's side. And that's there's just a little bit of context that's not there of why we get to this point. In
yeah,
terms of where the characters are emotionally with their dynamics to each other. Like, there's a little bit of tension between Blitz and Stolas, but arguably, I'm not fully convinced that it should be this casual yet because I haven't seen Blitz wind down yet. I've seen Stolas kind of wind down.
Yeah, I've seen people on Twitter say, oh, they're so busy focusing on their daughters that they didn't have time to worry about their own drama, but like, even with that excuse, it doesn't get brought up even once. Like, it's just a bit much to expect, you know?
And it's not the episode's fault. If we had gotten episode 8 of season 1 like planned, I'm pretty sure this wouldn't be a problem at all. Because that episode does seem to have Blitz kind of working through what happened. It has him having a back and forth with Luna, which again has to lead into this episode because this episode does give us more of his his father, being fatherly to her, and I feel like if I had the context of episode 8, it would better lead into this. It's still really good what we get in this episode. I'm not trying to discredit what this episode is about.
You lost.
I should have done better.
That's fine, you're remembering Uno on the fly. And we're focusing on talking rather than playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, my favourite line in, I think now all of Helluva Boss, not just this one episode, is, why does he hate her more than he loves me? Because fuck, that's relatable.
Yeah.
Oh, that is exactly what you think in that instance. Oh, that hurts. I feel very attacked right now.
That was the highlight of the episode to me is the girls talking and Octavia, because that's an interaction you kind of saw coming for a long time, or at the very least it's a dynamic that I think most people saw potential in because of the situations they have. That there's a lot of overlap. But now that we finally see it, it's like, yeah, there it is. It's all there.
Yeah.
Them kind of struggling with the odd relationships they have with their father. I was gonna say father figures, but I should just say dads, because that's what that's what Blitz is to Luna.
Yeah.
Even if she's not willing to outright say it.
Fuck, it's my turn. Sorry, I'm fiddling with web pages and shit as well, which is why I'm a bit
It's
slow.
okay, neither of us are thinking.
So...
You know what, that'll just make, if we win, it'll be all the better. Because they won when we were barely... Because we'll win when we were barely trying.
So, time to ask the question, do you reckon there's porn of human Stolas yet?
Oh, already. I'm pretty sure they're done and it's posted. I'm pretty sure it already has thousands of likes.
Because that's what I'm fucking searching right now.
Actually, no. I know for a fact there is, because technically, that form has been revealed for months.
Well, I'm looking. I'm not finding it. I'm actually disappointed, but I guess there's too many furries in the community that want the owl form instead. But yeah, there doesn't seem to be. Which is very strange. Porn artists work fast, but apparently not that fast.
To go by, I think people prefer the furry forms.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Speaking of, there's a lot to talk about in this episode, but speaking of her, it was a short scene, but it did so much world building in like 20 seconds. With Blitz literally, adopting a hellhound. That hellhound.
Oh my god, yes.
They are respected so little in hell that basically abandoned hellhounds are sold in a pound basically as slaves. That's basically what they're doing.
I really love the way that they managed to make it both fitting in terms of being a dog pound and also in, adopting children. Like
they combined them perfectly.
Like, wastes of space that they want to get rid of the second they're 18. They don't respect them at all. Fuck, it's too relatable. Like, it's too good. Such a good fucking scene. Thank you for reminding me of it.
I loved that scene. It was it was over in like 15-20 seconds.
And the way
Yet
that
it's like,
it like flashes between that and Blitzo like freaking the fuck out as he remembers that. Like, God, too good.
I loved that. Because I did know that technically hellhounds, like hellhounds are very, very low. Like, it's like they are pretty much the lowest. Imps are the absolute lowest. Hellhounds are barely above them. They're more or less on the same page with how low they are in Hell's hierarchy. So them being sold in is like in a dog pound like that, which very much mimics child adoption while also being a dog shelter. It's just, that says so much.
Yeah, the fact that there's barely any difference between the two and they can be combined like that is just...
Yeah.
It's pretty fucked, honestly.
It was, and this is a very small detail that I can confirm is extremely accurate. I rewatched that scene because it's like a few times because it stuck out to me so much. Because how could it not? In the background on their cells, you'll see these little clipboards that have their names on it. And yeah, that's exactly what animal shelters are.
Yeah.
In front is like in front of the kennels. They'll have their information on a clipboard exactly like that. It's like it's both so accurate to what a shelter looks like, and very reminiscent of almost a jail in a way. What am I picking? Okay, I just mashed them all because I wasn't thinking and I wasn't sure which one was supposed to work.
Yeah, I think while I really love this episode, it also has woken me up to a bit of a problem it's got, which is that I really liked that there was almost no Moxie and Millie in this episode, because I don't like Moxie and Millie.
The opposite, it's like I kind of have the opposite problem. Like, it's on the one hand, this wasn't really an episode about them, so they didn't really, arguably they shouldn't have had, they shouldn't be taking up much screen time. But what little screen time they had, left so little impact on everything that was happening that it felt odd that it's like how much nothing they did, and it makes me honestly think it might have been the better call if they just weren't in the episode. Because I really enjoy Millie and Moxie, especially if you compare this again to season 2 of Land, which I think how they used Moxie and Millie, just on the sides, was perfect. It was entertaining. It was entertaining. It felt like they were doing something, even though they weren't technically doing much. They were just kind of hanging out and entertaining the audience, and being a little back and forth couple and learning a little bit more about them, personality-wise, just from their dialogue. And that was fun. I liked that. So it didn't take up that much screen time. I would compare that I wish they were more in this episode, but again, it wasn't their episode, so arguably they don't need that much screen time, especially since we know who they are. This isn't literally the second episode of the series.
Yeah, I think the show is...
Honestly, I think they just shouldn't have been in this episode. I think they could have easily had it that, I don't know, maybe they took the day off and and it's just Blitz, he's yelling at Luna to, kick it into high gear because, the other two aren't here to carry her slack. And they just had to work through this whole situation without the M&M. I think that might have been a little bit better. And again, I love those two. When I was first watching the pilot in the first couple episodes, they were the part that I really grabbed to the most. I'll say the pilot and first episode, because by episode 2, I think everyone started to really like Stolas and his daughter.
Yeah, if you didn't fall in love with Stolas and his daughter by episode 2, you were a heartless piece of shit.
No, I did. If anything, that was the episode that I think showed everybody that there's nothing in the show that we expected.
Yeah, there's an emotional core to this.
Yeah, in terms of the pilot, the first episode, Millie and Moxie were my first favorite thing about the show. They're just very entertaining characters, very entertaining. And also, I really like their song. It's very cute. Point is, I think they were very underutilized in this episode. I don't think giving them more was the answer. I think they just shouldn't have been in it.
I think the problem is that I don't think you can get rid of them from the show entirely. Like, I
Not
think
at
that
all.
you can't get rid of
Not at
them,
all.
but at the same time, I never want them to be the focus of the episode, because Stolas, Blitzo, Luna, Octavia, and Stella are so much more entertaining and interesting to analyze and well written. Like, it's just, why would I ever want to look at Eminem in that example?
It's like, well, if we're talking character-wise, even though we don't have a lot of backstory or backstory off of, I think there's a ton of if I'm going purely on which character entertains me more and gives me more to talk about, I would say I enjoy Moxie more than Luna. And here's the thing, that's not me saying I don't like Luna. Luna's very fun. I mean, she's voice acted by Erica Lindbeck. How could I not enjoy her?
I thought that was only in the pilot and then they recast her.
No, that's still Futaba.
Oh,
That is still Futaba voicing Luna.
fuck, that's Futaba.
You don't hear it?
No, I don't.
If you go back and listen to one line again, I promise you'll hear it.
Like, I can retroactively hear it now, but I never made the connection.
That was Futaba the whole time. Of course I like her. She's very entertaining. But I don't feel like individually, as her own character, she gives me a lot to talk about. As much as she kind of furthers what there is to say about Blitz.
Well, I think this is another case of, God, we really need Season 1, Episode 8 already, because I think that is the first episode that will heavily focus on her.
Yeah, I think that kind of episode would change my mind.
And I think we got away with Season 2, Episode 1, because almost all of that episode is flashback, and the brief section that's not is a direct continuation of the events of Season 1, Episode 7. Like literally the same night. Stolas hasn't changed clothes yet, like, it's immediate. So we got away with that, but not having Season 1, Episode 8 at this point, even if it wasn't massively impactful for this episode, we definitely still felt it. And I think if we go any longer without seeing it, it's going to severely impact the writing of the rest of the show, because they're going to have to write it around not having that episode, which is going to hamper things.
Yeah, that's a big problem. Like, it's not like this episode doesn't make sense. Because, no, story-wise, you can follow it just fine. There's no information you're missing. Exactly. But you're missing kind of some emotional beats to really make this episode land the way it should. And that's, again, that's not me like saying I didn't like what I got. It's me saying I am enjoying what I'm watching, but I feel like I'd enjoy it more if I saw what came before it. And I just feel ever so slightly the episode is kind of held back by that. And you're right. If they move that episode out soon, I think that's only going to stack up further.
See, we haven't been given an official explanation on why it's not coming, but we have been...
It's a song. It's music issues. They had this whole song that took a long time to animate, and when it was basically everything was done, they ran into issues with it copyright wise.
See,
I don't know.
I thought that was all speculation and hadn't been officially confirmed.
Oh really? I guess maybe I'm just spouting rumors then.
Yeah, like, very, very heavily suggested rumors, but, like, rumors. We don't have any official confirmation on anything as far as I'm aware. But it's been heavily implied through, like, official people involved in the production team liking specific response tweets that it is like some flavor of copyright or legal issue that's preventing them from doing it. So people have assumed that it's to do with the song. I don't think there's any like official this is the reason, which is unfortunate. But yeah, they.
We're going to get a reason until it comes out, and someone will probably explain after the fire's out.
I mean, at this point, if it is a song, which it is likely to be a song, I think they need to just.
If they need to animate around it, then that's why it's that's probably what they're doing. They have to just animate around it, which sucks because I'd love to see it. I'd love to hear it.
I think I honestly think they need to just try again and do a different song, or just not do a song if it's gonna work that way.
Which
so
is
that
what I suspect they're doing.
at this point, it's been long enough that I don't think they can get away with like not releasing it. They're running out of time.
The weird thing is that I thought this episode was going to be episode 8. Maybe that is like that tempered my expectations a little bit, where I was like, oh, I was expecting to get a little bit more on the follow-up of that. But hey, we won, and I was very
Yeah.
It worked! We finally beat the Boss.
The
Are
Boss.
these even real people, or are these computers?
No, these are computers, I think.
Oh, it's not as satisfying.
Yeah, but we're not paying attention.
But it'd be a lot more funny if we beat real people without paying attention.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna give us them, which is annoying.
Okay, taking a lot of that is, putting a lot of that aside, those real world factors that isn't technically this episode's fault aside, it's like, had I had this context, I think this would be a very, very fun and very well-paced episode of just Helluva Boss experience. It's an episode with a lot of laughs, a lot of lighthearted tone, a lot of it's casual violence and humor. It's got its heartfelt moment. It's a full package. Again, it reminds me a lot of Lunaland, and it's just like it has the full package of what Helluva Boss is and can be. And had I just better had the lead into this technically more lighthearted episode from that finale, had I felt, resolved by everything before, and I was down for this, I think I feel a little bit more positively about, maybe being is one of my. I don't think it's going to top episode 1 of season 2 right off the bat. But what I'm trying to say is I might put it a little higher if just the emotions fell into place that way. I feel like a jerk. It's just so hard to separate when I don't feel like something is completely earned because I miss information. Like, I don't want to judge the episode for it because it's not this episode's fault.
Yeah, I get you. So,
I really, really want that to get episode 8 of season 1 so I can rewatch everything in order and it'll find me quick. Because I feel like once I watch this in order, it'll be fantastic.
yeah, I think so too. So, straying away from Helluva Boss slightly, today, Square Enix shadow dropped Neo The World Ends With You on Steam, which firstly, holy fuck, it's finally on Steam. This is a masterpiece and everyone should go play it. Neo The World Ends With You has the best combat and soundtrack in any game I've ever played. I get really autistic about video game soundtracks. I have hundreds upon hundreds of gigabytes of the stuff. So when I say this is the best soundtrack in any video game ever made, that is extraordinarily high praise.
It's extremely high praise.
And also the combat's the best I've ever played. Seriously, go play it. It's on Steam, 25% off on launch. It's fucking great. You should play the first game first, but the first book doesn't really require it, so play week 1 of Neo to get yourself hooked, then play the Switch version, then go back to Neo. Do yourself a favor, this is a masterpiece of a game. But other than that,
Problem with it, and I'm pretty sure you might.
they're releasing Persona 5 Royal tomorrow. Fucking
I'm just... Everyone's attention is gonna be on a bit of a different JRPG tomorrow, so
especially they shadow dropped, no announcement, no trailer, just here it is. The day before an RPG that has sold millions of copies.
And that port is, those ports are a big deal. And here's the thing, shadow drops can be really exciting. I mean, Persona 4 Golden basically shadow dropped on PC, and that was a huge overnight hit. Shadow drops in themselves can be, big marketing gimmicks. It's just like, because everyone at once is surprised that they can buy something that is available right now. It can be fun, but right before Persona 5 Royal comes out on Steam, Xbox, and Switch, like, yeah, that is going to consume
and
any potential
it
interest.
stings so much more because Neo fucking flopped. Like, it did not sell at all. And the PC port, well, like, the Steam port, was the chance for it to actually make some fucking money. And now it's not going to because it's a JRPG releasing the day before literally the biggest JRPG since Final Fantasy VII. Like...
up there. I would say it is the biggest JRPG of the modern PlayStation era.
Definitely. Not even comparable. But like
I don't know if I'd go so far as back as a game that was made the year I was born.
In terms of cultural impact, yes, absolutely. Persona 5 is the biggest JRPG since Final Fantasy VII, which is the biggest JRPG
yet,
ever.
But I would put it up there in that category, but I just can't think because there are other big JRPGs.
None of them are anywhere
But
near as big as Persona. Not in terms of how much advertising they get. Like, just straight up.
There is a difference, granted, between sales and is like a cultural phenomenon. It's like I am not underselling Persona 5 sales at all. I'm really not. It has sold millions of copies. But its overall culture phenomenon would lead you to believe it's sold more than it actually has. Like, it's very successful, but it's definitely a bit more of an icon selling 10 million copies, you know?
Yeah,
I'd
hitting
actually
up the
think Persona
Wikipedia
5
page.
has sold 10 million copies. I think it's barely hit 5 million. Now, granted, that might change.
Persona
after
5
the
on
port.
its own has hit 5 million.
I know I'd have to check the figures. I know a couple years ago the vanilla version cracked 3 million. Royal added about another 1.5 million. So by the end of 2020, it was close to 5 million. By now, maybe that's closer to 6 or 7. With these ports, it might reach 10. And again, that's not underselling that. Those are very good sales. I'm just saying there's a lot of games that have sold better that have not had the same cultural impact. I'm trying to say Persona 5's biggest impact is just what it leaves on gaming culture more than its literal sales.
Yeah,
You know what I
looking at literal sales, Final Fantasy is obviously the top because what else could it be? But like,
Yeah.
and
That's why I
I'm just
hesitate.
looking at
That's why I
JRPG
hesitate.
franchises here. I'm not looking at just gaming as a whole. For JRPGs, Final Fantasy is the top. Then it's Dragon Quest with like half of the sales, and almost all of those sales are in Japan. Dragon Quest means nothing in the English-speaking world. Like, just straight up. A bunch of the mainline Dragon Quest games aren't even released in English. Like, Dragon Quest means nothing to the English-speaking world. Almost all of those sales are Japan exclusive. Which is ironic because it feels like the game that's pandering to Western people the most, which is why we like it the least.
As that many RPGs have failed doing that. That makes sense.
Looking through the list.
But yeah, it's specifically sale-wise why I hesitate to say that, because I feel like to say an RPG is like to say it's the biggest one since then, it has to be both. It has to be both a cultural icon and and a major Final Fantasy level moneymaker. That's how I justify it in my mind. But again, that is not discrediting that game at all.
I said biggest since then. I said biggest since then. I didn't say it beat Final Fantasy VII.
Oh,
it's just the biggest one since then. Which, like... yeah? Sure, it hasn't quite sold as much as some of the, like, PS1 Final Fantasy games. But... there is so much more cultural impact to Persona 5 than Final Fantasy VIII. Like, the level of difference in cultural impact between, like, Final Fantasy VIII and 9 versus Persona 5 is just undeniable. And the sales are not that massively far behind. Like, it's just... that has to factor into it.
Yeah. Again, I absolutely would say it is the JRPG, like, flat out. Like, what basically cements it in my mind, and I will always remember this, seeing basically the state of play that was showing off, the first round of PS5 games, most of which were also coming to PS4, but whatever. It's basically when they were hyping people up for the console, and you know, in the beginning when they were showcasing all of PS4's biggest hit games, is like every single game was realistic. It's like realistic style. Again, I'm not knocking the games. I played a lot of those games. They're great, but I'm just saying style-wise, I'm noticing a pattern. And then you see Persona 5, which is just completely unlike any of that.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
I mean,
that speaks wonders. That Persona 5 leaves as much of an impact as it does. That PlayStation puts it on, in terms of legacy, on the same length as all basically blockbuster games.
I mean, all you need to do really is just look at the... if you have a PS Plus account on PS5, you get a collection of like 20 or so PS4 generation-defining classics for free. And one of them is Persona 5. And almost all of the others are, like you say, these hyper-realism Western games. But...
and then there's Persona. And I think that's...
granted, they also have Final Fantasy 15, which, like... that got paid to be there. But, like, even then, like, it's just... Persona 5 was lightning in a bottle.
It really was. There's a clear difference, is what I'm saying.
So, looking at the franchise sales, Final Fantasy was like 168 million, I think. Let me quickly refresh that. Yeah, 168 million sales for Final Fantasy. Then Dragon Quest to second place at like 84 million. Third place, I was not expecting this, but this does make sense in retrospect, is Kingdom Hearts. 35 million. Disney and Final Fantasy. It can be the worst game ever made, and a bunch of them are, but it's still gonna sell like hotcakes.
Yep.
And yeah, I played like 6 Kingdom Hearts games. I will slander them a lot. I do not like them. I do not understand how the first one ever, like, got tolerated. It's shit. Like, all of them are just shit and terrible, and I hate them. I barely even smiled in 6 games. Like, that's... I'm a very stubborn piece of shit that hates dropping games. I dropped Kingdom Hearts. I dropped, like, nothing, and I dropped Kingdom Hearts. But yeah, 35 million sales, so... Just goes to show that I'm wrong, apparently.
Sales equate to cultural phenomenon and vice versa. Like, they're not going to be the same thing. And yeah, I would say cultural phenomena, Persona 5 has left a very, very huge impact, to the point where I think it has left a big enough impact that it is setting up the paveway for the next Persona game to reach those big blockbuster sales right out the gates.
Yeah, I think...
It will carve its way up there over several years. And I think it's like, from all that work, the next one has potential to basically get there overnight.
So, turns out 4th place is also not what I expected, but does make sense. It's the Tales franchise of action RPGs, which, like, yeah, that checks out. Those games are pretty fucking successful. They're one of the biggest names in action RPGs. They've had a long history. But, like, none of those games have sold more than, like, 1 million, maybe 2 million copies. There's a lot of fucking Tales games, and they've only got, like, 27 million sales. I would say only a few Tales games have that massive cultural impact. And considering arguably the biggest one is literally about as old as I am, that's not a good sign. But, yeah. So what's 5th? Is this fucking 5th? Because I'm scrolling down farther than I expected.
Atlas is not going to be there for a while if you're looking.
Oh, I found Megaten. I found Megami Tensei. 22.7 million. That includes Persona's sales.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, Megaten as a whole is 5th place, behind Tales, Kingdom Hearts, Dragon Quest, and Final Fantasy. And I understand 3 of them. Dragon Quest, all of those sales Japan. Like, I'm sorry, that's just... Yeah, they're not anywhere near big enough in the English-speaking world.
I mean, I bought the new one, the 11 Echoes of an Elusive Age on Switch, and I just never got around to really playing it. I mean, I will eventually. I did play Dragon Quest Builders 2, though. That game was great.
I mean, I streamed Dragon Quest 11 for a few streams. Do I still have those streams up? I don't know if I do.
Well, you did archive everything, so it's probably somewhere.
Yeah, but I've also deleted a bunch of my archives. I don't know if I've still got it. Like, I deleted a bunch of the oldest stuff. Okay, they're still up. Yeah. I streamed Dragon Quest 11 4 times. I do not understand how people tolerate a lot of the fucking game design decisions in those games. Like, wow, they're really terrible.
It's a lot of people just play the game for its charm.
Yes, it's terribly dated old design that should have been fucking removed literal decades ago. Like, there's so many just terrible design decisions that are small but snowball into affecting the experience. Yeah, those games really need to fucking modernize. But the problem is, it's for a fucking audience of people that don't want them to change. It's for the ancient fucks who hate evolution in game design. If you like Dragon Quest enough that you're like, Dragon Quest XI is the greatest game of all time or anything like that, that tells me a lot about you, and it's not positive.
Tell the people. From what I can tell, the people that love Dragon Quest primarily just love its world and characters.
I don't think the gameplay is worth suffering through for it, like, to be honest.
Really sunk in my teeth into it too much, so can't really say one way or the other how I personally feel about the gameplay. All I know is that I did play Dragon Quest Builders 2, and I definitely see what people get when it comes to the game's charm, the art style, the characters, the music, the general world and vibe. Like, yeah, I'm getting all of this in a gameplay format that clicks with me more. Very much enjoyed that game. I'd love to replay it one day.
Yeah, if you want a game that has amazing characters and story, much more charm, much better art, far more accessible game design, then you should play Neo The World Ends With You, which just dropped on Steam today.
Better art than tough, considering I absolutely adore the Toriyama style, but again, personal preference.
I do not like the Toriyama style at all.
I adore it. It's probably one of my favorite art styles ever.
Dragon Quest XI is the most tolerable it's ever been. But that is tolerable, not good. I do not like his character designs. They're just... They don't look good, in my opinion. I don't know.
Adorable.
Yeah, so,
Personal preference.
yeah, The World Ends With You is sporting character designs by legends such as Tetsuya Nomura, who is working on his absolute peak. These are the best designs Nomura has ever done, and that is some high praise. For the love of God, go play the Twelly franchise. You owe it to yourself. These games are like all cultural impact and no sales, so give them some fucking money. They deserve it. I was originally going to stream it, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm gonna just play it again. But like, I've bought Neo 3 times as of today. I've bought the original game 5 times. Twelly is a masterpiece. Both games are masterpieces. Both games are testaments to the power of video games.
I bought it several times.
Yeah.
I bought Stardew Valley like 6 times.
I think everyone's bought Minecraft like 12 times thanks to account bullshit. But, you know.
I bought it twice, probably gonna end up buying it a 3rd time, although I kind of like the PC version I have now. Actually, no, I have technically bought it 3 times. I had to buy it physically again for my own sister, so yeah. Thanks, Microsoft.
Gotta love Microsoft. Yeah, I think... Yeah, Neo Twelly is really good. It has the best combat I've ever seen in a JRPG. And the best soundtrack. And some of the best character designs.
I wasn't thinking when I did that.
Meow. Yeah, the character designs are on point. The story is great, if slightly slow in the beginning. There's like only a couple of minor problems, really. Which is like, week 1 can be just a touch too slow. It is a sequel. Like, it is a sequel that requires knowledge of the original game, so you are going to need to play the original game or watch the cutscenes online. No, the anime does not work as a substitute. It does not cover the extra content in the Switch version, and that extra content is specifically vitally important as a bridge between the 2 games. The anime is meh. It's an anime adaptation of a JRPG. it has pacing problems because of that. But, like, yeah, you gotta play the game or watch the cutscenes, and you do need to do the first game before the second. If you want to get hooked into the gameplay, then try the first week of the second game, because that isn't very spoilery. That's generally fairly good at, like, being a taste test for the franchise, at least gameplay-wise. Yeah, I can't stress enough that these games are masterpieces and you should play them. The Twelly duology is tied with 13 Sentinels for the best game I've ever played. Not just my favorite, but like the ones that are actually the best at like achieving what they wanted to do and like being well made and shit. Yeah. Because Persona 5 will probably always be my favorite at this point, but like, that game has a lot more problems than games like 13 Sentinels and the Twelly duology do. So, yeah.
It's like the thing is I've kind of narrowed in on. It's like when I start judging how much I love a game, depending on what's technically wrong with it. It's like I'm in a corner where basically I'm never going to truly find my 10 out of 10 experience, if that's what I'm looking for. Like, no, it has to be a perfect game in how it's made, and I have to thoroughly love it more than anything else. And like, I don't think a game has to be both for me. Like, it's like some of my favorite games ever have a lot of problems. I can see why some people don't like them.
Play your card. Play your card. There.
Oh, whoops.
Cool.
And it's like, and yet the experience and impact it left on me was so indescribable from anything else I experienced that I can't give it any less than being one of the best favorite games that I've ever made. Even if it's not the best, even if it's not the best build, I'm like, I honestly don't care. It's like that it's not, that there are probably hundreds of other games better than it. That one's my favorite.
Yeah, Persona 5 is my favorite game of all time. Umineko is probably the most ambitious story I've ever seen. 13 Sentinels is a true testament to the power of video games, as is the first Twelly.
That I will give 13 Sentinels. Like, man, the best part of 13 is it's like 13 Sentinels as its best is an experience everyone should have.
Yeah, everyone needs to. If you like narratives, for any reason, you need to play this game. Like, pretty much. Like, there is no valid excuse if you love stories. It is a testament to the power of video games as a storytelling medium in ways that are difficult to explain without spoilers, but for the spoiler-free explanation, this is a game with 13 separate protagonists and stories, and every single one of them is vitally important to the plot. Every single one of them is important. Every single one of them is well told. Every single one of them is achronological. So you're not even getting it in chronological order. And there's time travel. And you can experience a lot of the story in many different orders because you choose which of the stories you want to progress at any given time. And this is the most complex plot I have ever seen. And all of it makes sense and is predictable by the end. Everything makes perfect sense. You can predict things if you pay enough attention, and this is an achronological story with time travel, with 13 different protagonists that you can experience in many different orders. Tell me, I dare you to tell me that that is not by default one of the greatest video games of all time.
like the most impressive is like I've seen storytelling wise. Like, how did somebody come up with all these ideas, explain it to other people, and they all work together to make a game that worked?
It's just
Wow.
mind-boggling, honestly. Like, 13 Sentinels is so genuinely...
Yeah, I have my nitpicks, but it's phenomenally impressive. There is nothing else like it, and I'd gladly put my nitpicks aside to say everyone should experience it. Everyone should. It is worth experiencing.
Definitely. And in my opinion, so is the Twelly duology. Like, both of them are absolute must-experience level games. I know you started playing Final Remix a while back,
Oh yeah,
Mirth.
I need to get around to Splatoon more. Splatoon 3 came into my life and ruined everything.
Lemire.
And by that, and the funny thing is, I've put 50 hours in that game, and I still haven't touched the story mode. I need to. I've heard it's great. I'm going to love it.
I made the mistake of putting the story mode on stream, so now I have to play all of the story mode on stream, which has made me just not play the fucking video game for months. So I've barely touched Splatoon 3 off stream, despite the fact that I want to.
You don't have to just like start the story mode. You can finish it later if you just want to like stream multiplayer. Dick.
Sentences you can take out of context for 500, please.
No, no, he gave me it back.
He gave you your dick back.
I'm ashamed.
Lemire.
Worthless.
By the way, I haven't actually mentioned it, but people may notice that I've rebranded slightly. I am now the BL Church, not the Yowie Church. For all 0 viewers watching,
We are the Church of Boy Love now.
yes, because it's more general of a term versus Yaoi, which is not only a specific subgenre for a specific audience, but it's for and by women, which is just...
Yeah.
doesn't sit right with me anymore. Like, some women are capable of writing gay male relationships, kind of. I would say you, Mirth, are one of the people that can generally do it okay. People like Vivziepop who are working on... People like Vivziepop who are working on Helluva Boss are generally okay at it, but like... I'm gonna be honest and say that I think most of the authenticity that I love so much about the relationship of Stolas and Blitzo and Helluva Boss is introduced by Brandon Rogers, who himself is a gay man. Like, you can feel his influence, and it is no coincidence that the episodes that I think actually are the weakest for his, like, that relationship are the ones where he is not writing. Like, Season 1, Episode 7, which is a good episode, but you can immediately feel that there is a level missing from their writing.
I do think it is a little different. Because the goal it's trying to tell for their relationship is different from it's not trying to showcase the dynamics back and forth. It is more so trying to showcase their their personal issues, their deeper issues that come from their relationship with each other. And I think you can correct me if I'm wrong with the statement, but at least something that I've kind of noticed, and you've given me perspective on this, is that when it comes to women writing male relationships with each other, they struggle when it comes to portraying intimacy because we have very different ideas.
Oh, yeah.
What it looks like.
Yeah.
And we tend to have have better strengths when we're focusing more on the relationship aspect between two people, and less so on the intimacy.
I feel like, how do I explain this?
Like, you can
It's-
correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just something I've kind of noticed. That
I think it is particularly noticeable when it comes to, like, sexual intimacy and sexual relationships, because good lord, oh, that is almost always terrible. Like, even from the best female writers, it tends to be okay at best, just because, like, it's not even necessarily like it's your fault, it's just, you aren't male. You don't have the same parts, you don't have the same brain chemistry and
same perspective.
psychological... You don't have you don't have the brain that we have, in the sense that you don't think like we do. You think differently. Not worse, just differently, in a way that needs to be acknowledged. Like...
Yeah, that's why I say, like, I think it's the weakness areas is, when it comes to portraying intimacy, and doing it better is more so when you're trying to portray human relationships. And there's those two things are very different.
One thing...
There's a huge difference between trying to showcase a relationship and trying to showcase intimacy in that relationship.
Like, there's so many character dynamics that just... you don't see them in, like, other types of relationships. Like, the way that... It's the kind of thing that's really difficult to describe without just being gay. And that's the worst part, because it's like, I have so many critiques for all of these female-written gay love stories that's difficult to even word because it's just too reliant on having that experience.
I get what you're saying, even if I literally, can't, like, I can't see what you see. Like, it's outside, it's outside my viewpoint, it's outside my perspective. It's like, I can't see what you see, but I do at least empathize with the idea that you're saying, because that's something I very much feel when I find myself critiquing how female characters are written in a lot of media, and sometimes I just can't explain why I have problems with with certain patterns I see. It's like, you either get it, it's like, what's shallow or missing from this, or you don't. And I can't explain, why. I just see it immediately. And other people just don't see the issue, period. So if I kind of apply that logic to what you're saying, I can understand the general emotion of not being able to describe what you see, because it's just a very specific perspective that is nearly impossible to explain.
We have someone watching on YouTube. Damn, okay. Hello, Stolus. How's it going? Glad you could make it.
It's like, I hope what I say isn't trying to intrude or is like undermine your point. I'm just trying to emphasize in ways that I can, best that I can.
It's fine, I get it. Yeah, like, one of the most popular gay romance stories at the moment is Heartstopper, which recently got a television adaptation. Everything I'm about to say about Heartstopper is regarding the original webcomic, not the adaptation. I have not watched the adaptation, so I cannot judge it. This is just the webcomic that the adaptation is based on. It is honestly kind of really terrible at writing a gay relationship with intimacy in it. Like, it's just, like, genuinely quite horrible at it. And I feel really mean for saying that, but, like...
I mean, if you see it, you see it. You gotta call it how you see it.
one of the things that is like a pet peeve of mine among gay romance stories is when the characters are entirely desexualized. It's just like, come on, dude. Gay men are by far the most sexually open demographic. Like, so much so that we're made fun of for it. Like, it's an undeniable aspect of the gay male experience. Particularly the gay teenage experience. Like, why has it taken over 1,000 pages for sex to be brought up even slightly in Heartstopper? That's just unrealistic to me. And it's so unrealistic it becomes immersion breaking. And I get that the argument is often used that, oh, the characters are struggling with their mental health, they have more important things to worry about. But like, you can struggle with your mental health and also be a teenager who is struggling with horniness. I should know. I have struggled with mental health my whole life, and I have the highest sex drive of anyone I've ever fucking met. That's why I named myself the BL Church. Like, you can have both. It's so distractingly unrealistic to not have any. It doesn't even need to be a massive factor. Cause like, my all-time favorite webcomic is called Always Raining Here, because it manages to capture an authentic gay teenage experience in a way that nothing else does. And tell a good story, and have good art. Like, I got you to read it recently, Mirth. And
yes, it was phenomenal.
it's fucking great. It's just, like, the opening scene is one of the main duo going to Craigslist to try and find a hookup. And that's just so authentic, desperate gay teen behavior. Like, I felt that in my soul immediately. Like, yes, you're a teenage gay. You don't have options like everyone else does. Of course you would rely on something like that. Like, it's... I don't know, it's just... It immediately attached me to the characters, and made me realize this is from the perspective of someone who knows what they're fucking talking about. And that's really refreshing to me. Yeah, one of the things I love so much about Stolas and Blitzo in Helluva Boss is that it's authentic in a way that is difficult to describe. That is a gay relationship written by a gay man, and you can feel it. Yeah, I don't really know how else to put it other than that. Like, it's the kind of thing that if you don't get it, you're probably never going to.
You know, I can't get it. Like, I can admit straight up, it's something that I can't get, but I can at least, you know, listen to what you're saying and take in that perspective. Because, like, I am listening to you, and I'm thinking, like, you know what, yeah, that's a very, very good point. And it's also me acknowledging that, yeah, this is outside my wheelhouse, but I can still keep that in mind. I mean, it's given me a lot to think about, is like what you told me about this.
One thing, Mirth and I, for those who don't know, are working on a very, very, very high-scale project to rewrite all of Persona 5 in the form of a fanfiction that, while the primary goal is making Akira and Ryuji gay now, beyond that we're also trying to fix a lot of the problems we have with the game's writing while still making it the same plot recognizably. So, like, some fundamental things we can't really address. Like, we can't really touch basically anything about Akechi because changing him is just too fundamental to the plot.
Changing P5's plot.
Yeah. Like, he's too woven into it to be able to change anything about him, which is kind of a problem because if I wanted to change him to a point that I would be happy with, P5 would be unrecognizable. Like, just straight up. Um, so we're doing like more minor end ones. We're doing yeah. But we're writing a gay relationship at the center of it all just because, well, it's fan fiction, so why not, right? But yeah, I am really excited to work on it with someone else because I feel like it's a lot better to have another person helping you, like, gain another perspective on things. And a lot of the suggestions you've made have been, like, really good.
Sorry, I was interrupting. Hold on.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try and inject a lot of the, like, intimacy of their relationship into the writing, whereas Mirth, you've been really great at, like, planning out the development for them, and, like, making me pace myself. Because I also have a tendency to, like, not like slow-paced gay romance. Because it's just like, hurry up and get to the good shit. Like, I complain a lot in DMs and shit about, oh my god, I want to write, like, all of these really cool scenes that are coming up soon. But I have to write all of the early shit first, fuck. Like, I have to force myself to write a lot of the earlier scenes so that I can get to the later ones.
I guess that also highlights kind of the different in thinking, because yeah, I do kind of focus on those step-by-step progression details, and that's mostly for my own taste and how I want stories to play out. I don't like it when stories skip details. I like that progression, so I can believably see this relationship build in turn its strong conclusions. If you just give me the strong conclusions without learning those steps, it can make the final result feel hollow, and that is not a fun feeling. It is so much better when you see a powerful ending that feels earned, and that's just where I personally narrow in this sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's been really helpful. We need to work on it more, honestly. We don't work on it enough.
I did proofread all everything you've put down so far, and I've been needing to kind of flesh it out a little bit. You know?
Because this is such a massive project, we are going to be releasing it chapter by chapter. Just because, like, if we did the whole game at once, that would literally be like 1,000,000 words. There's too much game to do it all at once. I think we're gonna just do chapter by chapter.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so we're on the casino escape prologue right now, and
oh yeah.
We finished our first scene, which is like 1,800 words or something, and it's a we redid the casino escape from the perspective of Ryuji instead of Joker. Which was a very interesting choice that you proposed, Mirth, because that was not my idea, that was yours.
Yeah. I was just trying to think what's a better way to play on that opening that everyone's familiar with, especially since, you know, we're really not exactly rewriting Joker and Ryuji's relationship. It's based on a lot of what's already in the game. But, you know, just kind of offering a new take on it, and what's the best way to showcase that without while not literally repeating what any reader has seen in game, and I thought of that.
It was a really interesting decision, and I'm excited to see more interesting decisions like that as we change things up. But yeah, so it's one of the main goals I've got is beyond just making the characters gay, like, I want to really flesh out the relationships between all of the Phantom Thieves, not just Akira and Ryuji. Because, like, we get tiny hints of some of them. Yusuke and Futaba are the two weird ones, aka the two autistic ones, let's be real here.
They're very fun together. I love them together.
Yes, Ryuji and Arn are childhood friends, and the few conversations we get about them being childhood friends are fucking great and amazing, and I love them.
No, and we don't get enough of them.
Makoto is... Okay, we're rewriting a lot of Makoto here.
You know, it's like,
But,
I am
like-
fine with it because I've been reading a lot of the P5 manga again, and she by far gets the most changes, is like in how her character is portrayed, to the point it feels like I'm reading a new character, and it made me really sit back and go like, she could have worked for me. She could have worked for me. What went wrong? This is so much better.
Yeah, we are gonna change Makoto fairly heavily in our rewrite. Because she's one of the worst written characters in that game. But she's at a level where she is salvageable. Like,
She belongs in Persona 5. Like, I do think she absolutely has her place. It's like place there. And
she has
does
her
have
place, and she could be really, really good with some changes. But the problem is that, like, yeah.
She just turns into into a nagging mom. That's not fun. Not even moms do chips. She just turns into a nag. That's not fun. She's just being the mouthpiece. It's like for the group while also being a nag. It's like, come on.
So
Have a better dynamic.
one of the things I don't like is that the game often tries to make it look like Makoto was better than everyone else in the Thieves, especially the people who get into the Thieves before her. Like, because it's less of an aspect with people like Futaba, and with Haru it's mostly just because Haru's not a character, but like, especially Ryuji has this really, really weirdly written relationship with Makoto, where Makoto is portrayed as better than Ryuji, significantly so, but like, they're also friends, except it's weird, and Ryuji is afraid of Makoto, kind of. Like, it's bad. It's bad, and it's unnatural, and I don't like it. So, my strategy to fix that is to double down on it, which is a bit of a strange thing to hear from someone who's just complained about
But
it.
it's a dynamic. It's one you can develop. It's one you can have an arc and conflict from.
Yeah.
It's one you can make a message and story out of. And it's definitely not stagnant.
Yeah, here they have a much more ferocious rivalry. Like, they're not just this weird, we're friends, except also Makoto is better than everyone for, like, no reason thing. Nah, like, both of them are going to be right and wrong. Both of them will have chances to prove the other one to be a sniveling piece of shit with terrible strategy. But both of them will also be called out on their bullshit. Like, they are not going to be friends with each other at all. It will be the fiercest rivalry between thieves, and it really is going to push into perspective that, at least for a good chunk of the game, these characters aren't, or at least should not, all be friends. Eventually, by endgame, they'll all be a big friend group, because, like, of course they're going to be, it's Persona, but, like, for a decent amount of the game, they are not gonna be friendly.
Well, you're pulling the Persona 3 here, in a way.
Yeah, I've taken a lot of inspiration from Persona 3 in terms of how we're gonna write it, because the problem with Persona 3 is that I think it has the best character writing overall and potentially the best cast, but it's also the cast that I like the least. I don't like the cast of Persona 3 anywhere near as much as I like the cast of 4 or 5. But at the same time, they're definitely the best writing.
I go back and forth on I can't pick a favorite cast, period. Like, the closest answer I can give is that Persona 3 has my favorite female cast, while Persona 5 has my favorite male cast. Because Ryuji's in it.
I mean, valid, fair, based. I would say Ryuji is the best individual character in an Atlas game, which is a very spicy take that not a lot of people like to come out with, but like, also potentially the worst written ever, which is a
Say
strange.
that. I'd say worst treated. There's a huge difference.
Okay, worst treated party member in an Atlas title.
No, that's technically kanji. He gets treated worse, but it's on the same page. I'd say second worst. Kanji gets treated so badly.
Kanji gets treated pretty badly. I genuinely think Ryuji is treated worse. Ryuji is just... God. I can't. I need to do a video essay on how that all goes down at some
A lot
point.
Don't believe me when I say that. I don't know why.
Kanji
Like,
is
it
not treated
obvious?
well.
It's like, is it not obvious that he's not treated well?
Don't get me wrong, he is
Like,
not
it's-
treated well, but I have the scorching hot take that Ryuji is treated even worse. Like, don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah, I was talking about Ryuji when I said a lot.
Oh,
Of people
sorry.
don't believe me when he's not treated well. Sorry.
Yeah,
I mixed it up.
Ryuji-
A lot
sorry.
of people don't believe me when Ryuji isn't treated. When I say Ryuji isn't treated well.
It's
but, like,
because they
so
don't like
obvious
him.
He's not.
It's because they don't like him. They believe the game when the game tells them, oh, Ryuji is just a dumb, idiot, terrible person, selfish. He's constantly telling everyone that he's a phantom
Not
thief.
selfish.
Like,
I
wow.
draw the line. That's where I draw the line the most. He is not. He is arguably the most selfless one in the group. Like, he's blunt, sure, he speaks his mind, he can be rude at times, but selfish?
It's because he wants pussy. He wants to use his name as the Phantom
It's
Thieves.
like he's being a teenage boy. What about being a teenage boy is selfish?
Like, it's just... The longer that I remain in the Persona fandom, the more I realize, wow, so many Persona fans are legitimately illiterate, aren't they? Like, it's just...
I know to an extent, it's that this is a 100-hour game. Different lines are going to stick with people more than others. And when you have thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of lines, all with varying degrees that stick with some people are going to accumulate different interpretations of what they feel as they play the game. When I consider it that way, it kind of makes sense why some people have vastly different experiences.
Why did you pick that color?
Oh, I was not thinking. I literally just wasn't thinking.
You
I wasn't
literally
looking at
could
the
have
screen.
won us the game if you just played the red skip. And then you
I
picked a
was
color
not looking.
that none of us had.
I wasn't looking. I was not looking.
God, this is why we're losing.
I blame Atlas. They're making me heated.
Lamau.
I don't even remember what I was saying.
Something.
Something. I've already forgotten. Point is, Atlas treats Ryuji badly, even though Ryuji is a fantastic character.
Yes, Ryuji is an amazing character despite Atlas, not because of them.
Despite, like, it's like I've had someone tell me like, no, they know all Ryuji's good qualities. They made him. Why wouldn't they know? And just, oh sweetie, you're giving Atlas too much credit here. I love their games, but do not give credit when they clearly are not showing it.
Yeah, it's rough. Okay, that guy is a green 6.
Well,
I
I'm
know
sorry,
that,
I lost
yeah.
just the game. I literally wasn't looking when I picked that color.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think Kanji's not treated great.
He is treated so badly. It makes me sad because he's a sweetheart. It makes me so sad how badly he's treated.
They're definitely the top 2 in like worst treated. but I think Ryuji is a lot worse, because, like, with Kanji, most of his mistreatment is the just invalidation of bisexuality.
Yeah.
Except they accidentally give the gay character trait to, like, literally almost every male character, including confidants, which is kind of strange. Like, it's like they wrote the same character 4 times. Every guy is gay in that game, including a bunch of the confidants.
It's like Persona 4 is like like the queerest game they've made. Like, oh, it is dripping with it. I've played it recently.
Somehow they managed to make a game where half the cast are bisexual and the game's writing is biphobic. Like,
yeah.
Like, and that sucks to say, cause like.
No, it's absolutely true. Like, it's like me and my friend. It's like my friend's favorite Persona game is Persona 4, and she flat out says like, no, it is the most homosexual and homophobic game. It's like in the series, and like, yeah, I mean, strong wording, but yeah, I can see why she says that. Like, yeah, it's definitely the most. It's got a cast full of rainbows through and through, and yet.
Yeah, the only straight character is fucking Rise, which like.
She's the token straight. Which
yes,
is hilarious.
the token straight, but like also the token toxic straight, like the I hate gay people straight almost. Like, God love that moment in Persona Q where she's like, no, you can't get married to a man.
Ooh, I do not care for her characterization in Q. It feels like that was written by someone who does not like Rise.
It's me, I don't like Rise. Yeah, I don't like Rise at all. I think Persona 4 has a great male cast and Naoto. All of the other women are, like, genuinely horrible, and all 3 land in the bottom 5 Persona party members for me, including Persona 1 and 2.
Played 1 and 2, I cannot give my perspective there.
Obviously the worst is Morgana, because our rewrite literally just fucking beats him out of existence.
I mean, I know my least favorite Persona character, and that's a whole rant in itself.
That's Kasumi, yeah.
Oh, she is the worst.
Yeah, so we based our rewrite off of vanilla for the most part, because...
I don't want to deal with her.
Yeah.
I don't like her. She should just not exist.
Look, I don't hate her. I think there are some problems with her, but there are some... She's very Atlas re-release waifu in, like, the derogatory sense.
Yeah, extremely, and just... Man, she is certainly the worst one yet. Basically, you know what everyone says about Marie?
No.
This time it's actually true.
Nah, I'm not gonna say that Yoshizawa is the worst Atlas re-release waifu.
No, she absolutely is. It's not even a contest. There are some I don't like. I don't particularly like Marie, but I don't hate her. She's just kind of annoying, but technically she doesn't ruin P4's thematic experience. She's just there to be a little annoying and kind of waste your time, but I can live with it. That is, I cannot give the same benefit of the doubt for Kasumi.
God, I just...
Although Ray certainly is like testing my patience, although I haven't beaten Q, so I haven't gotten to her story.
That's not a re-release waifu, though. That's more...
No, but it is
it's more like a spin-off waifu. Which are slightly different.
They are slightly different, but I generally do kind of categorize them in these neutral classes, because there's a lot of overlap. The best one is Sophia. It's not even a contest.
No.
She talks to the cast. She has dynamics with each one, and
You're forgetting the
dynamic.
You're forgetting the actual best re-release waifu.
Okay.
Kotane.
Wait, who?
Kotane. Femc.
Oh, Fems! I'm sorry, I don't call her by that name. I didn't even. You're right. How could I be so foolish? You're right. I forgot that she's technically a new girl.
I can't play a card. What the fuck? It didn't let me play a card for like no reason. But yeah, Kotone is actually the best re-release character. Like,
Yeah,
hands
no
down.
contest.
There are a couple of problems introduced in her route, but other than that, they're avoidable.
Yeah, I can think of a couple points. Oh, that's what you meant. I thought you were. I was gonna say, it's like, I know there's a couple of kind of thematic angles story-wise that don't quite work as well with her because they weren't made with her in mind. But they aren't bad because of it. They're just different and maybe a little less effective here and there. But she certainly has a lot to make up for it. Yeah, I know what you meant now. You said that. Yes, that is very avoidable. And I am modding it out so I don't have to think about it.
Just to anyone who's playing the Femc route of Persona 3, do yourself a favor and do 9 ranks of Shinji's Confidant. Specifically
Dude, I
9.
forgot about that one.
Do not do the 10th one, but do all of the 9 previous ones. The 9 are great.
No, better yet, you can do rank 10, then reload a save file, so it's not on your save file, so you have at least seen it all.
Yeah, but don't actually continue with it.
Yeah.
For spoiler reasons, rank 10 of Shinji's Confidant in Persona 3 Femc is one of the worst writing decisions Atlas have made in a re-release, which is unfortunate, and we're not going to get into it.
I don't know if to say worse, but it's definitely one of the most ignorant.
So, one thing that does mildly hurt about doing this vanilla rewrite and not a royal rewrite is that I really like Maruki. I haven't even finished Royal. I know his role in Royal, which is also spoilers.
I was spoiled on him heavily before he even started the game.
I was spoiled on him before the game came out in English.
Oh yeah, honestly, me too. Spoilers for Royal were impossible to avoid. Literally impossible. Atlas would not stop shoving all the spoilers possible in trailers. Don't do that again, Atlas.
So yeah, obviously we're keeping this vague, but yeah, I know Maruki's true role in Persona 5, and it is certainly interesting, but I have not gotten to that content yet. Because I ended up...
I wish I liked it more. I really wish I did.
So, most of my judgments of Maruki are actually not including that arc, which is what everyone praises him for. I just think he's neat. Billy Kometz is really cute. Was really cute. Sorry.
God rest his soul.
Yes, rest in peace, Billy Kometz. He died too soon. Maruki is really cute. Maruki is, like, genuinely so attractive, but in, like, a really pathetic hot way. It's great. Like, he's the kind of boyfriend you bully. I love him.
You know what? I get it.
He's a sunshine boy.
I will say, I personally liked Maruki the most. Wait, hold on. Alright, sorry about that. Yeah, I personally like Maruki the most when I was going through his solo. Knowing spoilers and keeping in context what he was building up to. And that's when I got the most out of him. And
with the context of what he's building up to, fuck, that Confidant is really good. That Confidant is really good.
Although, well, darn darn it, I don't want to say too much. I don't want to spoil anyone who hasn't played Royal. Oh, there's more I could say though. It's like, that's a positive, but there's a but. I'm not sure if I should get to it.
Fair.
Let's just say I was enjoying it before I got the execution. Then I'm not sure I'd enjoy his socialing as much on a second viewing.
That's unfortunate.
Very, very unfortunate. Again, I don't. It's like I'm so mixed on him because there's parts of him I really do like, and there's a lot of parts of him that I wish I liked more. It's not fair. It is not fair. I wish I liked him more. Like that role in a nutshell. I wish I liked it more.
Yeah, so like part of me wants to have Maruki thrown in there, but also like, how do you have Maruki without his arc? Therefore, how do you have that without Yoshizawa? Like, it's just a bit... You gotta kind of have both for it to be the same.
Actually, not really. Not really. Which is sad, but not really. You'd think, right? But as I was saying before, technically, with how Royal is built, you can do it's like Mark. You can do a lot of Maruki's Link, and basically, as long as you don't complete it and complete it, he can just leave the story.
Well, yes, but like, I don't know. I want him to have a role, but I don't want to like get rid of the thing that people like about him. Because it honestly feels like that's...
trying to figure out. I'm sorry, I wish I liked him more, I really do. Yeah, there's parts I do like about him, but man, I just...
Most of my motivation...
Most of him confuses me.
Most of my motivation at this point is just... Pathetic psychologist is hot.
You know, we can keep that part. If that's the part you really like about him, that you can keep. But that would probably get any reader's hopes up, so maybe it's best we not.
Yeah, I'll just write like one-off fanfics and shit. Because Lord knows there's a bunch of ideas I could be throwing in for that. Oh boy. There is so much that I like think of and then have to go, no church. You can't include that in the main rewrite, it doesn't fit. That's not the point.
Oh, I feel that one.
But like, just casual polyamorous relationships with Arkaden, Ryuji, Mishima, EY, and Maruki. Just all of them for the lols, why not? Fuck it. Get all 5 of them in somehow, I'm sure you can do it. Maybe even throw in a changed heart Kamoshida who's not a piece of shit. Like, you can work something out. Yeah, that one's a lot more, like, no.
I don't know about that one.
There's this...
Personally, something about it.
Yeah, probably not, hey. There's this one fanfic I read that was really, really good that does actually sort of do that, in the sense that Ryuji and Kamoshida end up getting together, like, long after the events of Shujin, where he finds Kamoshida homeless and just pities him. And then sexual tension happens because, like, of course Ryuji had a crush on his mentor. Yeah. And it, like, actually is fairly good and well executed and I like it. But yeah, realistically, that's
just... Say that, it's just, to me, on principle, Kamoshida was built to fill a very specific role in the story, and he fills it so well.
Oh, he fills a lot of holes, alright.
He fulfills that role so well that he's kind of unusable in anything else.
Yeah.
At least for me. At least when it comes to my image of that character,
I mean,
Yeah.
fair, but
Yeah.
Ryuji is also risen to fulfill a very specific role, and we're completely fucking destroying that in the rewrite, so...
Well, it's mostly when I say that I mostly
Fair.
at least in my eyes, the character can't recover from that.
Fair.
I'm sorry. It's just personally how I feel.
It's fair and valid.
I mean, it makes for phenomenal storytelling for P5. Kamoshida arc, best arc.
Oh, definitely. Not even close. Doing the Kamoshida arc is going to be fairly difficult in our rewrite because it's so dense. Like, there is
Really
so
is.
much going on.
Like, that's the arc where it is the most interpersonal. Is like to the immediate lead characters, and when you're writing changes around, again, interpersonal relationships of these characters, you can't just skim over the arc that involves them the most. That's the arc that's arguably going to have the most insight and changes involved. Not major changes, I just mean like developments.
Yeah. There is a lot of
like when it
setup
comes-
that needs to go there. Like a lot of setup. But at the same time, it's also the one that needs to be rewritten the least.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. When I say
There's a fuckload that needs to be added, but not much needs to
Yeah.
be changed.
that's what I was trying to say. Like when I say I don't literally mean change, because everything there is so good and is such a springboard to write more off of. Yeah, very little needs to be rewritten. It's just there's just so much more you can add to it. There's so much more, especially when you want to get into the characters' heads about how they feel about certain situations and getting their thought processes to progress from one step to the next. There's so much to get into. Especially if you want to double down on further developing Ryuji to build up new ideas, there's so much you can add. It's going to be extremely dense because it just gives us so many ideas to springboard from.
Definitely.
But yeah, the arc is phenomenal. There's very little that needs to be changed about it in specific.
I'm really looking forward to writing the ginger scene. For those unaware, we do actually...
We discussed it for like an hour. That's...
Yeah. How we managed to stretch a 2-minute scene in a video game into literally like an hour of discussion.
That's my favorite scene with Ryuji. Like, my favorite one.
We are going to be jamming in so much there that we could probably literally write an entire chapter on that one scene. Like, that's how
Pretty
much...
Sure that will take the entire chapter, honestly.
Like, just because of how much there is to put in there. Yeah, it's really going to be where their relationship grows. That's... Because obviously they interact a little bit before then, but like, that's when they become die-hard friends. AKA soulmates, and they just haven't figured it out yet. But, you know.
Yes. Oh, their meet. Oh, it's like, oh, their first meeting is going to be fun.
How much longer do you want to play for?
We can probably finish this game. It's coming up on 10 p.m. for me, which is when I need to start wrapping up. Cause
Cool.
work tomorrow.
Yeah, okay.
I gotta get back to my job of working in a kitchen.
Rip. Sorry, I think you were about to say something before I cut you off.
I was gonna say something. I don't remember what I was trying to remember what it was. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The first meeting. What I personally love is about first meetings, especially if it's a first meeting for a major developing relationship. Is you want that first encounter to carry the foundation of what will come, but but you also don't want to start too strong because that can kind of easily invalidate everything that comes next. I'm trying to figure out how to word it. Like I'm not trying to say that it's like the first meeting shouldn't mean something, because it absolutely should. But there's also strength in seeing how it starts and where it ends up to. And at least part of what I love, dog making noise. Part of what I love about the introduction of Ryuji in game is how at first how standoffish he is with Joker, because that's how he is with basically everyone else in his life. And just how fast is like through one day they work through that.
Yeah, I think it is really, really good. I think that's an example. I think that's another example. Sorry, you go.
Yeah, oh yeah. I was gonna say, he's standoffish. He's casual. He's kind of It's like heck. He basically walks with Joker just because Joker doesn't know where to get to school. When they get there, he's literally about to just leave, and then he notices something's wrong. It's so casual and telling of where Ryuji is right now, and yet it's fascinating to know what builds from that as the day goes on. I love that.
I think this is another example of our different priorities when it comes to like writing relationships. You're very focused on the slow progression of their relationship, where I'm a lot more focused on them. Like, they are already going to die for each other after like the ginger scene. And
absolutely.
the way I'm writing it is just most of the steps are them figuring out how they feel about each other, not actually changing how they feel about each other.
And the thing is, I love how fast friends they become. I really, really do. And it's not like Ryuji's being is like I love, even in the first scene, is like you already see Ryuji's best qualities. He's trying to call out Kamoshida for being a predator. Is like to Anne. Is like she gets in the car with him and he's upset that he couldn't get there in time before they drove away because he wanted to spare her from that. When they end up in the castle, his impulse is to attack the guards. When they start threatening him, he doesn't hesitate to jump in. He doesn't hesitate to yell what's going on. Like it's like so much good establishment of his qualities right from the start. I love all that. I love that. His introduction is so strong. I love it.
That whole arc in general is just so strong.
How the characters introduced in that arc is perfect. It's perfect.
Can you imagine a world where Persona 5 was just the Kamoshida arc, and that like month of the game was it, but in like a fucking visual novel or some shit, like where that was just the whole story?
Honestly, it's like it on its own, besides some setups to bigger plots, it has a conclusion. That the arc itself has a conclusion when you take down Kamoshida and we save the school. To at the very least, yeah, there's seeds to keep playing more, especially with the casino opening, but you can reasonably just play that arc and have a satisfying experience and a satisfying conclusion, to the point where if there's somebody who is put off from playing Persona 5 because it's a 100+ hour JRPG and they don't want to put in that kind of commitment, it's like find the game on discount and just play the Kamoshida arc. It is worth experiencing that arc. Just have the best 15 hours a JRPG can give.
Do we want to?
Obviously, I encourage playing the whole thing, but if somebody is because some people flat out just don't want to play a game that long. They just don't. It's intimidating, and they're just not interested.
Or they don't have the time for it.
They don't have the time. It's just too much. And to that I say, well then just play the Kamoshida arc. you will get it's worth, I mean, I don't say this to be mean to the rest of the game, but it is true. It's where the game peaks, and it's probably the best singular arc experience you can get in any RPG.
God.
Singular arc. That is very specific when I say that. I'm not saying whole experience. I'm saying singular arc.
I don't know if I can agree with that. Yeah, you know what? You know what? I think I'm not going to agree with that. I think
Really?
I'm going to pick week 1 of Twelly.
Really?
Yeah. Because you haven't finished it. But, like, yeah, I think I'm gonna give it to week 1 of Twelly. It's so good. Like, so good. That is such an amazing hook for that game.
I really need to get around to it. Because I really was enjoying what I was playing. I really was.
You loved the soundtrack too, right?
Oh, I adored the soundtrack. What I heard. It's like, I just really need to sit down with it again and let it click me all over. Because I was really liking what I was playing. It's not even the game. I go through this process with games all the time. I'll buy a game, I'll play the first 2 hours, love it, get distracted. Months later, I was like, okay, you know what? I enjoyed that game. I need to finish it. I'll pick it up again. Then I finally get hooked, and then it's all I play for the next 2 weeks.
Lol.
That's where Tory is right now. Once I get past that, then it's probably gonna be all I play for like a month. But I started it, so it isn't very high in line. Again, I know I was giving the Kamoshida arc a lot of praise, but
It is so good. But I think week 1 of Twelly is even better. It's so focused. I love it.
why did I pick blue? I should have picked, you know, I can fix this, I'll pick red. Okay, well, I'll give some benefit because I don't like making sweeping statements. This is the best ever unless I really know it for sure. I'll say it is top 5 singular arcs that a JRPG. I think that's fair.
Yeah. And week 1 of Twelly belongs there too. Like, it's... Fuck, the writing is so strong on that first week. God damn. It's honestly a bit of a problem, because, like, week 2 is so much weaker by comparison. Week 2 is the problem of the game. Like, the first game, not Neo. And week 2 isn't terrible, but, like, I'm gonna be honest and say that week 2 is relying heavily on fucking Sho Minamimoto to pick up the slack. Like, it's just... Week 2 is worth playing because Minamimoto is in it, aka Best Boy. If you've ever seen a Tetsuya Nomura looking ass fucking game with a bunch of math puns, that's Minamimoto. He's amazing.
Oh, him, I recognize him.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about now.
Best cat
And
boy.
on that note, it is past 10 p.m. and I need to find stop. I don't think we can finish this game.
Okay. In that case, thank you all for joining. Not that many people did. Thank you, Stolus, for joining in this live stream, and thank you to anyone who watches these before... thank you to anyone who watches them outside of the live stream part. English is hard, okay? Thank you all.
Fine, I can barely speak it.
Thank you all for joining or watching post-stream. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you all later. This is the BL Church and Mirth Mouser signing off.
Signing off. Have a good evening.
See ya,
Or
everybody.
morning.